Hey there, baking friends. Welcome to another episode of This Old Baker podcast, where we talk about things that are homemade, hearty, and delicious. I'm Kim Artlip, your host and fellow lovers of all things scratch made. So we're going to dive into something near and dear to my heart, why scratch baking is making such a huge comeback. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's talk about why more and more people are dusting off their rolling pins and getting back to basics in the kitchen. Now, it's no secret that the past few years have changed about how we think about food. With the rising prices, concerns over additives, and the desire for deeper connections with what we eat, people are looking for ways to take control of their food again. And what better way to do that than through baking? Now, I've noticed a shift. People are turning away from the store-bought baked goods filled with preservatives and embracing homemade breads, cookies, cakes, the sourdough starters. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's necessity, but scratch baking is becoming more than just a trend. It's a movement and a way of life. There's something deeply satisfying about taking simple ingredients, flour, butter, sugar, eggs, turning them into something magical. A loaf of bread fresh from the oven or a batch of cookies cooling on the counter, it's a feeling of accomplishment. You just don't get that from opening a package. So let's talk about flavor. Have you ever bitten into a store-bought cake and thought, this tastes okay? But when you bake from scratch, you control the quality. No artificial flavors, no chemical aftertaste, honest to God, goodness and deliciousness. Now, baking isn't about feeding our bodies, it's about feeding our souls. And I think it's therapy in an apron. After a long day, kneading dough or whisking batter can be the perfect stress reliever. It forces us to slow down and be present in the moment. And let's not forget the joy of sharing. Baking has a way of bringing people together. Whether it's fresh loaf baked with your neighbors or a weekend baking session with your loved ones, it fosters connection in a way that few other activities do. So if you're new to scratch baking, don't be intimidated. Start simple. Maybe a batch of homemade biscuits or a no-knead bread. Use quality ingredients, follow the recipe closely, it's not the time to experiment, and most importantly, have fun with it. I always say baking is a journey, not a race. Each mistake is a lesson, every success is a reason to celebrate. So, my fellow bakers, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, know this. There's a reason scratch baking is growing in popularity. It's about reclaiming our food, rediscovering tradition, and savoring every bite. Thanks for spending some time with me today on This Old Baker podcast. If you try a new baking project, I'd love to hear about it. Find me on social media, share your creations, and let's keep this baking movement alive. Until next time, keep those ovens warm and your hearts full. Happy baking!